let the glue dry on the backer for the router support, and now I'm removing the clamps. I will clean up the inside with my chisel. Of course, the glue would be hardened, so fortunately I did it when it was wet, got most of it, a little bit of scraping. Now I'm just test fitting it, the plate. This is the old phenolic plate, I believe. I've got the new aluminum one now. I don't think they make that phenolic one anymore, but it's the same fit. Nice, fits in there. It's got a little spring ball on the one long edge and one short edge that you can adjust, and it kind of helps it fit in there. Again, I make the opening slightly wider, and then the up and down flush, they have a bunch, they have a little Allen screws that a few, like 3 or 4 down the long edges and a couple down the short edges, and you adjust them to flush it up real nice. And I like to keep it uniform from bench to bench, because I will have this on my big bench and my compact bench and my total station, and if I want to drop the router in any of them, I don't want to have to adjust those. So by keeping this uniformity with the 12mm plywood and the backer, everything is the same. So adjusted for one, it fits all. Are you enjoying these videos? Do you get anything out of them? Would you like to see me make more? Well, this is your call to action. Drop down in the comments section down below. Give me a comment. Give me a thumbs up if you like the video. And remember to subscribe. Come on over to thesmartwoodshop.com, where you can find out more about us, see some of our projects, and you can also visit my store where you can purchase any of my plans to download instantly, or you can use our Amazon affiliates where you can purchase your tools for the same price they'll give you every day, but they share a little bit with us. Here I'm just putting in the backer for the MITER slot for the router. Important piece of this, you know, I could put in a track, I could buy one, and so if you wanted to have even more precision, you could purchase a set of aluminum track, and then you can make that, adjust that cut a little bit wider so that that would fit in there. I find these work great, it saves a few bucks. Now I'm attaching the permanently glued and screwed outer piece of the top. This, you can see, leaves an opening for the MITER extensions. I kind of have it set back in on purpose instead of bringing it out to the edge. This allows the MITER bench to be a little wider and hold a little wider material. I'd even make it wider, but I'd have to push the saw back further, and so it's just a dance there of making adjustments and fine-tuning until I figured out exactly what worked for real world, for a carpenter, for me doing finished work. Now I am testing out the opening with the 3D printed to come fast cap, their new MITER track. It is now available. If you want to use this, it will fit. So I've made my wood shop made version, which the plans include, so you don't need to purchase this. But if you wanted to use the fast cap aluminum track, aluminum MITER track, you could. I got a section of it and I tried it. I guess I do like it. I mean, the track is really nice, and it's, that precision is really nice, but the placement of where the track goes, I guess actually where the tape measure goes, it just didn't work out for me. I don't like their stop. They've got a little plastic stop, and it's kind of, it's got this long piece of wood. It's kind of clunky. It's just not, in my experience, not real world. For me as a finished carpenter, I like my stop much better, and my stop will work on it, and it works great in their track. But the problem is where the tape measure goes, it doesn't line up with the design that I have. So if the tape measure were back on the back edge instead of out on the front edge, it would work well. I'm going by memory here, but I did try it. It didn't work out, so I will not be using it. But again, I did design the bench so that we'll accept it. But you will probably need to use their stop if you want to use their track. So hopefully one day they will improve that. Again, I think it's a great MITER track system. Their stop is just not up to snuff for day in and day out use for finished carpenter. This is what's going to hold up or attach the miter section, whether you use the aluminum one from FastCap or whether you use the one that I show you how to build in the plans. Basically, I will screw in from underneath. This is one portion of the bench that I do not glue in. I screw it in from the bottom so that if I ever need to change it or make additions or modifications, I actually started this bench, and you'll see where I have a certain type of attachment for the extensions, and then I end up changing it. So the modified version that you'll see later in the video is what the plans ended up with. So I'm glad that I did not glue this down, because it ended up being one of those backup, redesign, make it better. I added a sub base for the miter stand to the Smart Total Station, and this ended up being an addition for me to use as storage when transporting. So it creates a little box, and I'm able to drop, because I make up 4 stops instead of just 2. I make 2 rights and 2 lefts, and they're able to drop in there. That added a little storage for me. I think also maybe by tying that middle section back together because of the cutout for the miter saw, you might notice a little video wiggle here. I'm not sure what happened to the camera. Not much I can do about it. I'll use as little as I need to demonstrate here. Test fitting the saw right now and checking things out, make sure the height's right and get the swing that I need. Obviously I'm showing here that it's still hitting in the back, so I'm going to have to recut that back, which I told you earlier I had already planned on that. I'm going to just cut it just a little bit more. I also have to change the base on the miter saw. This is the one left over from the original Paulk Total Station, and the dado on the bottom side that kind of locks it in place needs to be relocated. So I will be redoing that base here in just a minute, after I, of course, check the plans on the iPad and make a look at the adjustments I need to make. So with my same template, I know how much I need to cut away, and so I'm just clamping it in place. It'll be a real quick router cut. And now just checking it again to make sure, do I need to take it a little bit more, or am I right on? Again, I'm sneaking up on it. I give the final dimensions in the plans for the Capex, of course. But if you are using another saw, I think you would go at it the same way. First, getting your height set so that you know that the table is in the right location, and then move it back until you cut away just enough to give full swing for your miter saw. Now I'm making the new base for the miter saw. This is a permanently mounted base. It stays on the saw. I'm making it out of 18 millimeter so that it will work well for countersinking the holding bolts. Cut the dado there. That dado is cut precisely so it drops in on that edge. The edge, the very lip there, sticks up a little bit, and so when you slide it back in, the saw drops in to precisely locate it. So I had calculated that and figured it out. Of course, it's in the plans. If you use a different miter saw, you'll need to play around with that a little bit. So I'm messing around with the various parts of the miter stand itself, trying to figure out where the dado is going and all of that. It's all prefigured, but I'm just marking it out and just confirming it before I start cutting it. I'm going to have to mount the miter saw. The setup should be that the back edge of the feet of the miter saw are flush with the back edge of the board. But I'm double checking everything. This is the time to make the adjustments before I get too far. And as I discovered, that is in fact where it went. It goes right on the edge. Of course, I centered it on that board. But again, just taking a straight edge, making marks, checking things out, thinking about the swing of the saw, thinking about that it makes the full swing, but also when you roll it over to one of its compound modes, it works as well. I think I show that here in a little bit. So here I'm figuring out where I'm going to bolt it, and I'm going to pre-drill from the top, and then be able to flip it over to do the countersink holes with the Forstner bit. Again, I want the head of the bolts on the bottom. I don't want anything sticking out on the bottom of this bench. I've got to store it, I got to carry it around, set it on things. I don't want to scratch things up. So you can see here, I'm digging through my viewtainers, looking for the right length of bolt. Forstner bit here, just for a flat bottom hole. I'm able to, with the pilot hole I drilled through the top, I'm able to precisely locate where those go and just kind of testing the depth. Didn't pre-measure, you know how it is, just in the field, I just kind of plow that down until the bolt head is recessed. Now I'm test fitting and making sure it drops into the dado right, and that everything is located. Again, test fit, test fit, test fit. This is a tool that I'm going to use for a long period of time, and I want everything working. I don't want to have any surprises. So will it make its full swing? And also, when the saw is in its compound mode, flipped on one side or the other, all the way over, will it swing fully right and left with the handle not bumping into the bench? And also removing the MITER fences in the back, make sure I can slide those off and on, because when you flip over into the compound mode, those things have to slide out to allow the saw blade to pass. And one of the good reasons not to have a fence for your miter stop stick up. Doesn't do you any good, as I mentioned before. You don't need a miter fence to stick up in the back. There's no need to push a board against it. So by making the bench flush and the miter stops run up and down a track, flatten the bench without anything protruding, makes the bench travel much better because nothing's sticking up, and also allows me to slide those fences out. Every saw has them to slide, because if you got a compound one, you need to move them out of the way, otherwise you'll be cutting through them. So just checking, testing, just making sure that everything is going to work in every possible scenario, even scenarios I may not use it often. I just want to make sure that it works in any situation that I may run into. Now I've made up a little scrap of material that replicates what the miter table will be like, and I'm just again testing it, making sure that everything's flush. There's a little bit of an overhang there. This would give enough room if you've got a little wider saw. These could be shorter. I made the opening of the miter area wide enough for any saw that I found. Again, I didn't test every one of them, but again, just testing and making sure as I start to lock things in. I know the router drops in perfectly on the bench top. That's a proven concept with all of my benches, but I needed to double check the third dimension and discovered a problem. But we'll fix that in the next video. Give me a thumbs up, give me a comment, subscribe, and come on over to thesmartwoodshop.com. Thanks for taking the time to watch. Have a great